YouTube.
Yeah.
Arv, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Great. Delegates, the ones who are here, I request you all to switch on your videos and make it more interactive. And also rename your IDs as your country portfolio.
Delegate of Italy, the spelling of your country is wrong. It's not Italy, it's supposed to be Italy.
I think we should start now. It's already almost 4:30.
Ma'am, just a minute. I guess two participants. Yeah, they're here. I guess we could go
Or
now.
disable the waiting room and make me the host. Like as soon as my Zoom gets free, I'll upgrade this meeting.
I made you the host.
Great. Ma'am, you can start.
Great, delegates. So last time we had just started with the documentation. With Lakshya, we did a bit of explaining about what position papers are, considering that you guys are supposed to submit position papers. So that was done. A bit of a word here and there about press releases, and you all will explain what draft resolutions are in a layman format. But today, the idea is to understand what draft resolutions are in detail and how are you supposed to go about it during the conference. Arv, do you have anything to say? Also, delegates, so that's Arv, your rapporteur. He was absent in the last session, so just Arv introduce yourself.
Alright, so my name is Arv Shrivastava. I'm currently in grade 10th and I'll be a rapporteur for the event. Also, I'll be sending a link within the next 5 to 6 minutes for the chits and all, right? So make sure whatever chits you have, you send it there and there only, not on the Zoom or the WhatsApp, okay? Delegates, is that
Great,
okay with
so
you?
I think...
Ma'am, I'm still not clear with the chits thing.
Okay, so if chits is a doubt, I think we can address that doubt towards the end of the session. I'll just write it down. Arv, till what time are you here?
I'm here till 5:15 max.
Great, I think we should be done by then. So the whatever doubts you have about chits and any technical issue, you ask it towards the end. Arv will address it. So if there are any questions, delegates, at any given point during this, you may raise your hand. There's a raise your hand feature on the participant box. Just do that any given point of time. So should we start? Great, I think this is the right time to start. So delegates, today we're supposed to do documentation. So as you know, and when documentation is concerned, I think I'll just give you a brief about what we discussed about position papers in the last training session. So delegates, position papers are basically just like the name suggests. They are it's a document which gives the stance that your country takes. Like the position of your country is the position paper. It in a lot of conferences there are awards for position papers, in a lot of them they're not. So position papers are basically supposed to give a brief to the committee, to the executive board about the stance that your country is taking in a particular issue. Can range somewhere around anywhere between 300 to 500 words. And position papers are usually submitted pre the conference to give a stance before the conference actually starts. So as far as this committee is concerned, we're taking in position papers till 15th of June, 11 a.m., which is tomorrow morning. Position papers will be marked upon, so you can send yours to Lakshya's email ID, which has been provided on the group. Now coming to, let's start with draft resolutions, considering this is going to be a longer topic, and then we can, towards the end, we can talk about press releases, plan of action, working papers, and everything else which is left. So delegates, do you have anything to say about basically an introduction of draft resolution? Then I can start with the next slide.
Thank you, ma'am. So, a DR, right? A draft resolution is basically the final document that you make at the end of a conference. Also, before that, I need to ask something. How many of you are first timers here? Can all the first timers raise their hands? All right, two. Okay. All right, so most of you obviously know what a DR is, right? For those of you who don't, see, a DR is a document that consists of a specific format. It has a very specific and a strict format, and it has points, right? Points that you need to act upon, and the points and the solutions to that particular problem, right? Now, a DR is divided into two parts. One is the preambulatory clauses, and the other is the operative clauses. Now, operative clauses are the actual and the main
I'm
essence.
sorry to interrupt, Arv. Let's not get into the details first because I am not so sure if. Yeah, so like basically, as he told, a draft resolution is a document about about your proposed solution. So in very layman terms, the draft resolution will be a document you reach towards the end of the committee. Documentation, especially DRs, comes into consideration usually on the second day of the conference. So basically, having debated and deliberated in the first day, delegates come to solutions which are documented in the form of a draft resolution, and then substantive voting takes place, and then if passed, it is adopted by the council. Now, there's one doubt one of the delegates messaged me in person, which I think should be addressed here. So the delegate asked that a lot of chairs go ahead and say that DRs are only meant for three committees, which is say the SC, ECOSOC, and the UNHRC. However, that does not stand true. Delegates understand that DRs are made in every committee and can be made at every committee you attend in an NUN. However, in the UN, the final document, the final DR, which is made by any committee, goes to vote in, say, the SC, right? Which is why probably chairperson might have told you this. However, even if you're not in, say, either of these three committees, you're free to make a DR because number one, it makes the session fruitful, and it's not like the actual UN does not make it. Like the DRs of, say, other councils except DC do exist, right? It's just that the final voting after they've been adopted go to UNSC for vote. However, they do exist. So do not come up and tell that the DRs can only be proposed or passed in these three committees and nowhere else. So now coming to DRs, let's understand delegates. These are basically proposed solutions of the problem that have been discussed and deliberated upon. So now how a DR works, also at any given point, if you think it's going too fast or you want me to slow down or anything else, just raise your hand. Argentina, is there a doubt? Because I see your hand raised. Argentina, is there a doubt? Assuming there isn't, let's move ahead. So delegates, when it comes to DRs, the format is very specific. It's really specific, and it's very intricate when it comes to DRs. So I expect you to be taking notes for your own understanding. Now let's come to how a DR is made. So basically, for a DR to be made, the requirement in the beginning is for a sponsor. Now, who a sponsor is? Sponsor is basically an author, someone who's authoring the DR, right? There can be more than one sponsor. There are more than one sponsor in a DR. So the idea when it comes to sponsors is that they want the draft resolution to be passed. That is who sponsors are. They'll author it and they'll want it to be passed because that's what they think is the solution. Now the second sort of people who can agree to DRs are signatories. Now, who these signatories are? Signatories essentially are not the ones who would want it to be passed or author it. Signatories are the ones who want the particular draft resolution to be discussed in the council and to be debated upon, and then they can take a call on whether they would want it to be actually adopted or not. So I hope the differentiation between sponsors and signatories is complete. Now coming to the structure of a DR, let's understand that before we come to clauses, there are two kinds of clauses in DR. Now, before we come to those clauses, let's understand that before the clauses, there is another component in the DR called the header. So, which comes before the preambulatory clauses. So, if we chronologically put it in order, a DR will look like the header, followed by preambulatory clauses, followed by operative clauses. These will be the three components of the DR. Just a second, delegates.
Delegates, up till here, is there any doubt?
Delegates, is there any doubt? If there is any, you may raise your hands. Now, considering there isn't any, so these chronologically it will look like the header followed by preambulatory clauses followed by operative clauses. Now, one by one, we'll discuss all of these. Now, first of all, coming to what the header is supposed to look like. So, the header is basically the committee. It includes a lot of things: the committee name, the topic on which you're deliberating, sponsors, like a list of sponsors who basically author it, who want it to be passed, and a list of signatories who want it to be debated and presented. Then the resolution number. The resolution number is provided by the chair. So basically on the second day of the conference, when the DR passing and when the DR discussion comes into consideration, I'll provide you with the resolution number, which you label there. Then comes the title and the UN committee, which you're representing. So in a nutshell, a DR will look like committee, UNHRC, topic, whatever the topic is, then sponsor, then a list of sponsors, the names of the countries who are sponsoring the DR, then signatories and the names of the countries who are signatories to the draft resolution, and then draft resolution number, which the chairperson provides. Could be say draft resolution 1.0, 2.0, anything of that sort. Is everything clear up till now? This is what the header will look like, and after this we'll come to the preambulatory clauses. Delegates, is there any doubt about how the header of a DR is supposed to look like? Now, seeing no doubts, let's move ahead to the second part of a draft resolution, which is the preambulatory clauses. Now, all of this sounds really fancy, but once you understand, it is no big deal. So, preambulatory clauses, in simple terms, are basically problems, and you can look at operative clauses as solutions. So, preambulatory clauses followed by operative clauses is essentially problems followed by solutions. So, when it comes to preambulatory clauses, the purpose is to identify the problem. After having deliberated and discussed on the first day of the conference, towards the second day, the delegates are in a position to, to concretely point out a few problems which the delegates of which the countries are facing on that particular issue. And the purpose of the preambulatory clauses hence would be to identify these. A lot of times preambulatory clauses might call upon past international action which has been taken on this regard, or how such issues have been dealt with in the past. Considering our agenda is regarding the pandemic situation caused by COVID-19, past international action might not come into consideration so much. So there is a particular format the preambulatory clauses will follow. Now this format will look like a word which is supposed basically which is supposed to be a prefix to all these to all the problems that have been defined, basically, which has to be underlined followed by a comma. Now there's a list of preambulatory clauses which I'll provide you. I'll just send that on the WhatsApp group, and there's a list of operative clauses as well, like phrases with which they start. So it's better you use those phrases and then follow up with the problem and the solution which is there. So basically, since a preambulatory clause is a problem which has to be solved, it is written in terms of the word, whatever the phrase is for the preambulatory clause, followed by the actual problem. So how you, to ease it out for you, just write it down in plain good English and then just attach one word from the list of phrases provided for preambulatory clauses. These phrases could look like something like, say, affirming, approving, aware of, bearing in mind, declaring, emphasizing. All of this, I'll send a list of all these phrases which are acceptable. And again, coming to the format, the phrase has to be underlined and followed by a comma. Say, for example, if you're mentioning, if the preambulatory clause is, reaffirming the importance of solving epidemics by international action, so in that stance, reaffirming would be underlined followed by a comma. This is how a preambulatory clause looks like. Are there any doubts, delegates, or is this clear? No doubts, delegates? Okay, seeing none, now let's move ahead to operative clauses. Now, considering preambulatory clauses were problems, operative clauses are essentially solutions. So, in simple words, a DR looks like a header followed by problems, which is the preambulatory clause, followed by solutions, which are operative clauses.
All right. So delegates, till this point, are there any doubts? Is there
Arav,
anything?
would you like to just give them a recap of what I told for their better understanding?
So it's basically, so it's sponsors, signatories, right? And then there's a header, and there are preamps, and there are operative clauses, right? Also, one more thing which I like to stress on, two in fact. So first of all, you cannot add a full stop anywhere other than the end, because if there's a full stop anywhere other than the end, the document will be scraped off. We'll scrape it off. We won't give you another 10 minutes to get the format in place. It's scraped off. Secondly, whatever points you speak in the committee, only those points can be included in the DR. So if you speak A, B, C, D, E, you cannot have a point F in your DR. And that's why we have a verbatim, which we check. So make sure you speak what you want in the DR.
Great. So moving ahead, delegates, let's come to what operative clauses are. So considering I've already mentioned how preambulatory clauses are essentially a highlight of the problems that have been discussed during the course of the debate, operative clauses are solutions. So considering operative clauses are solutions, it is recommended that a DR has more operative clauses than preambulatory clauses because that way it will have more solutions than problems. So the purpose of an operative clause is to recommend solutions. Now, how this format is, again, there are certain phrases which can be used before adding to make an operative clause. I'll send a list of those phrases on the WhatsApp group itself. So how it looks like is the phrase, again, underlined, just like it was in the preambulatory clause, underlined followed by a comma, and then whatever the solution which is proposed is. An example of a few, phrases which can be used for operative clauses could be, say, accepting, affirming, or approving, confirming, or uh, endorsing or encouraging certain actions. So, say for example, if the operative clause looks like a solution to say, just a second, Melanie. Yes, delegates. So say an operative clause could look like, endorses mm, endorses international action towards, towards investigating a problem, towards investigating the origin of the virus. So in that sense, endorses would be underlined followed by a comma and then the rest of the sentence. That is how the structure, that is how the format of an operative clause is supposed to look like. Now, delegates, again, just like Arav mentioned, at no given point of time in the middle of the document, you are to use a full stop, because a full stop would essentially mean an end to the entire document. The only full stop in the document would be in the last sentence towards the end. That is the only full stop that we use. For all clauses, there will be the underlining of the phrase followed by a comma and then the actual sentence. No full stop at any given point of time. Delegates, are there any questions up till now? You may raise your hands. Great. Seeing no questions, I assume the formation and the format of a DR is clear to you. I've sent a sample DR. I would want the delegates to have that sample DR in front of you so that we can just quickly go through it. Delegates, please open the sample DR that was sent on the WhatsApp group. Great. Do you have the sample in front of you, delegates? So now if you look at it the way the format is, again, the first part is the header where it says draft resolution 1.1. So now in the conference, the numbering of the draft resolution is provided by the chairperson. Once that has been provided, you can number your draft accordingly. Then is the sponsors, like in this example, sponsors are United States, Austria, and Italy. So then comes signatories, committee, and then the topic. This would be the header of the document. Then moving ahead, the first four phrases are preambulatory clauses. Again, notice how the words are used. I'll just read it out. Reminding all nations of the celebration of the 50th anniversary of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which recognizes the inherent dignity, equality, and inalienable rights of all global citizens. Now notice how the phrases reminding, reaffirming, noting have been used and have been underlined. Then coming to operative clauses, again, also notice delegates, operative clauses are supposed to be numbered. Now notice how from 1 to 6, all operative clauses are numbered. That is what is suggested in a DR. And also notice the words encourages, urges, requests, calls, stresses, and calls upon. Again, how these words are underlined. So this is how a DR is supposed to look like. Towards the end, at the end of the first document, after the 7th point, there's one full stop, which means the document has ended. Now, this is exactly how a DR is supposed to look like. So I'm pretty sure all of this is clear. Now coming to amendments to DRs. Now, once a DR has been passed, once the DR has been put up to vote or to be discussed, there are changes which can be made to the draft resolution. Now, these changes, which are called amendments, can be friendly or unfriendly, and an amendment is basically a modification in the draft resolution. Is there any doubt, anything any delegate wants to say at this point of time? Seeing none, great. Let's move ahead to how amendments work. So delegates understand that the purpose of an amendment can be threefold. It can be to add a clause, delete a clause, or modify a given clause. These can be the three amendments, or three purposes of an amendment that a delegates can raise. Now let's understand that preambulated clauses cannot be amended. Let's understand that any amendment which is suggested is for operative clauses. Preambulated clauses cannot be amended. And when it comes to amendments, there are two types of amendments: can be friendly, can be unfriendly. Now, understand delegates, a friendly amendment basically means that all sponsors agree to that particular amendment. And after the chairperson approves, it is automatically incorporated. So an amendment is suggested once all sponsors agree. But now let's come to unfriendly amendments. Let's understand that when it comes to unfriendly amendment, basically means support that amendment. And since not all sponsors are supporting that amendment, it has been put to. So when this amendment is put to vote, essentially it has to pass by a special majority. However, special majority is not possible. Now, take the example of, say, a committee with 12 delegates, right? So special majority becomes difficult. So in that case, we pass it by simple majority, which is half. So 50% plus 1 would be the majority required to pass an unfriendly amendment. Now, let's understand how an amendment is written. It can be verbal, can be through chits, depends on the executive.
Ma'am, I'm so
Yeah,
sorry
yeah,
to
go
interrupt.
ahead.
For that, on the MUN coordinator, right, there is an option that says delegates can amend. So there, if you put in your amendment, we can automatically see it, and so can everyone
Is
in the
that an
committee.
app or what?
It's a website. Do you want me to share my screen? I can show it to you right now.
Yeah, yeah, that works.
Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yeah.
So this, as you can see, MUN coordinated. This is where you can do your things that you want. You can add your names to the speaker list here, and you can also amend on resolutions here. Is that okay? This is called MUN coordinated.
Great. Arav, I think we'll have a word about this in
Yeah.
after the meeting is over. I'll have to get acquainted with this. So great. Now coming to writing an amendment, delegates understand that considering the purpose is threefold, is either to add, to delete, or to modify. Now let's understand one by one how to write amendment for each case. Now, when you want to add an operative clause, your amendment or the way you request the amendment would look like adds an operative clause that reads and then the clause whatever is being added. If you want to write it down, I can repeat. I guess you want me to repeat the phrase if you're writing it down? Delegates, can you not make it look like a monologue? Please respond or just say something. The more interactive, the better. That's what I thought. It looks like no one wants to interact, so great. So to add a clause, it would read like adds an operative clause that reads and then whatever your clause is. To delete a clause, it should read like deletes operative clause, then number the clause, and then that's it. And to change a clause, it can read changes operative clause number 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, to read and then whatever your clause is. Is that clear? Delegates, is that clear? At least respond.
Is this 4 delegates?
Yes, ma'am, that's clear.
Okay, great. I was hoping for this to be more interactive. So again, adding, deleting, modification of clauses, friendly, unfriendly amendments, I'm sure that has been explained. What else? Yeah, again, towards the, after all of this happens, sponsors have presented, it has been debated upon, amendments have been made, suggested, whatever that is. Then the DR is fine. The final document is then put to vote. Now, essentially, it requires 2/3 majority, a special majority to be passed. Like majority, again, discretion of the chairperson, but otherwise, by format, it's required to have 2/3 majority to pass a DR. I'm sure DRs are clear. If there are any doubts about draft resolutions, you may ask now, and then we'll move to working papers and questions. Delegates, are there any doubts? You may raise your hand.
No, ma'am, there aren't any doubts. Thank you.
Great. Arv, would you like to add something to it, and then we can move to working papers?
No, I guess we're good to go. Just one thing, Arv sir, you need to upgrade it to Flow right now, or else we gotta go down in like 2 minutes.
Make me the host again.
You're good to go.
Yeah, Arv, I'm not getting an option to upgrade it to Pro right now.